Hello, this video is for IXL activity 8.B.5. It is titled Integer Inequalities with Absolute Values. The 3-character code for this IXL activity is uniform 6 Victor. So we're going to go ahead and continue looking some more at the concept of absolute values. We remember, or we'll review real quickly, that the idea of an absolute value is absolute value is a number's distance from zero whenever placed on a number line. And since distance can only be positive, the absolute value of a number, whether it's positive or it's negative, the absolute value of that number is always going to be positive. So another thing to remember is that indeed these double bars that you see here on each side of the 6, that is the symbol for absolute value. So on this one here, and we're going to continue with inequalities. I just failed to mention that. So we're looking at greater than, less than, or equal to. So we have to go ahead and evaluate and decide which symbol we want to use. But first we have to look at what is the absolute value of any of the values that were given on either side of this inequality. So the absolute value of 6 is positive 6. And then we have the negative 4 and positive 6. Well, positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers, so we want to pick greater than. So the absolute value of 6 is greater than negative 4. On the next one over here, we have negative 1, and we have to compare that with the absolute value of positive 1. Well, the absolute value of positive 1 is 1. Remember, absolute values are always positive. So in this case, negative numbers are always less than positive numbers. So negative 1 is going to be less than 1. So we want to select less than. On this next one here, it looks like they're both 8s, but one's negative 8. However, the negative 8 is inside of an absolute value sign. So we know that on a number line, negative 8 is 8 positive units away from 0. So that would also be 8, and 8 is equal to 8. So we want to select equal to. And we would say that 8 is equal to the absolute value of negative 8. We have another one here. It looks like they're trying to trick you a little bit, right? Oh, look, same numbers, they were equal. Oh, same numbers, they're equal. Well, let's be careful, because the first one is negative 31. It's just negative 31. It's not the absolute value. We have no absolute value sign here. However, on the right, the negative 31, we're talking about the absolute value of negative 31. So negative 31 on a number line is 31 positive units from 0, and negative numbers are always less than positive numbers. So negative 31 is less than the absolute value of negative 31. On our next question here, again, it looks like we have two identical numbers. However, the first is inside of an absolute value symbol. So the absolute value of negative 393 is going to be positive 393. And that's going to be greater than the negative 393, because positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers. So we want greater than. On this next one here, again, they look like identical numbers, but if we look closely, we'll see that the first one, 456, is actually negative 456. We have to compare that to the absolute value of negative 456. Well, this is an absolute value, so it's going to become positive, because negative 456 is 456 units from 0 on a number line. Negative numbers are always less than positive numbers, so we want less than. And we would say that negative 456 is less than positive 456. Last two examples here, you're going to have a lot of them that look like this. It's going to look like the same number. And so just be sure to be careful to take those absolute values before you decide. So we have a positive 956, and we had to compare that with the absolute value of negative 956. Well, that's going to become positive, correct? 956, so they're both positive. They are the same value, so in this case, those two values are equal to one another. And finally, for the last one, I have a negative 289, and I need to compare that to the absolute value of negative 289. Well, that's going to become positive 289 because negative 289 is positive 289 units from 0 on a number line, and negative numbers are always less than positive numbers, so we want to select less than. All right, so those are all of my examples for IXL 8.B.5, integer inequalities with absolute values. Good luck with your activity.